Good evening, and welcome to the Student Life Information Session. I hope parents, guardians, family members, and others are doing well today. We know that many families have not been able to visit campus yet, so we hope today's presentation begins to provide you a better feel of campus, and we look forward to welcoming your student to campus. Throughout this session, there are photos of the different residence halls. On each slide, we try to highlight each of our first-year communities. You can also find additional videos, photos, and floor plans on our Student Life website. My name is Neil Andrito, and I'm the Director for Student Life here at the university. I will be discussing how Student Life will be a resource and support system for your student. This slide offers some images of Hammerman and Butler Halls, two of our first-year buildings on campus. And to begin, I'd like to share our mission statement with all of you. The Office of Student Life supports the holistic development of the student body by empowering students to create safe, civil, and inclusive living and learning environments. The Office of Student Life and all our staff are here to ensure your student succeeds both in and out of the classroom. We are additional resources to help them transition to living independently and in community. Specifically, we focus on developing our students, supporting their individual needs, celebrating the diversity of our community members, and fostering a strong sense of community. We collaborate with a variety of our campus partners to provide a positive residential experience. Our department is comprised of 11 full-time staff members available to assist you and your students. In fact, 5 of our assistant directors are master's levels professionals that live in the residence halls on campus. Additionally, within each residence hall, we have our graduate residence coordinators, or GRCs. There's a total of 19 GRCs that work on campus. These graduate students oversee sections of each residential community. We also employ over 200 students in different capacities, such as resident assistants, desk assistants, and office assistants. Their role is to support students and act as peer-to-peer mentors. We encourage your student to get to know their in-hall staff, and please don't hesitate to contact any of our live-in professionals. Our in-hall staff is responsible for developing the community, encouraging students to interact with each other, supporting students in their transition to college, programming in the residence halls, supporting students with challenging roommate conversations, and supporting students if there's an emergency on campus. The in-hall staff have an immense dedication to supporting our students and promoting their success while at Loyola. The Student Life main office is located in the Seton Court, on the west side of campus, on the far side of the bridge. This is where myself and our staff who do not live in the residence halls work from each day. We maintain a friendly office and always enjoy it when our students come by to visit. On this slide, we'll see some images of Campion Hall. This is our building on campus that offers apartment-style housing. So as we discuss some of our housing options, clearly I'm a little biased, but I believe living on campus provides students with access to all the resources and services Loyola has to offer. During phase 1 of the housing application, students indicated if they were planning to live on campus or commuting from home, and their preferred style of housing, if they preferred doubles or apartment. If your student was planning to commute from home, it is not too late for them to change their mind to become a residential student. We guarantee housing for our incoming students. There is not one specific first-year area for our students. We have 5 different residence halls that our first years are assigned to, and each offers their own unique experience. When it comes to housing assignments, Student Life partners closely with the Messina office to assign students to housing with the same Messina theme. This is just a brief overview of some of the amenities in the residence halls. Again, I'm a little biased here, but I believe living on campus provides students with access to their peers, access to the library, access to campus resources, access to classrooms, and an opportunity to be really included into our community. In my experiences working in higher education, one of the strongest indicators to a student's success is how well integrated into the community they become. And through living on campus, students have that much greater an opportunity to become involved. So these images demonstrate a typical setup in each of the first-year residence halls, but there is a lot of variability in the rooms, floor to floor, and hall to hall. Additionally, students tend to move their furniture around to maximize the space for themselves and their roommates to make it as comfortable and homey as possible. It is important to note that bathroom setups also vary by area. In Thea Bowman, it has a bathroom connected to 2 rooms shared by 4 students. That's the example in the middle. Butler and Hammerman have a shared bathroom attached to a nook that is shared by about 10 students. So our nooks was a way we refer to an area of housing with about 5 rooms and 10 students that kind of share that space together with a shared bathroom. And then in Hopkins has individual bathrooms on the floor that are shared about 10 other students living on the wing. The semi-private bathrooms in Thea Bowman need to be cleaned by the students who share that space. Our other common use bathrooms are cleaned by facilities. That's a big thing to consider when thinking about their preferences while living on campus. And in addition to that, our apartment style housing in Campion Tower includes a kitchen, common areas, and bathrooms. All those spaces within the apartment need to be cleaned by the residents of that space. So while we have some drawings of rooms, some feedback we received was that people wanted to see what our rooms really look like. So we've got some quick little 360 perspectives that I'm about to share. So this is an image of a room in Thea Bowman. This is one of the double rooms attached to the bathroom. So it would be the bathroom through that door. This is a typical room in Butler and Hammerman. Butler and Hammerman are complementary buildings. They're laid out identically. And I can assure you these rooms look way different once our students move in and they're able to kind of decorate them and make them their own. This is an example of a room from Hopkins Court rather. And the next few videos or the next few images will be from Campion Towers. So here we have an example of what a kitchen space might look like. Oh, they're both going. Sorry about that. And what a living area, a shared common living area space might look like. And this is another perspective of the living area in Campion. And finally, an image of what a typical bedroom might look like. So again, on our website, we have some more images and more pictures that I really encourage you to take a look at. They really give some ideas of what the spaces look like once they've been lived in and decorated by students. So what style of housing is right for my student? And before I get into it, I want to point out that these are all pictures of Thea Bowman, the exterior of the building, kind of what a room setup might look like, and a bulletin board. But in determining what style is right for your student, each student is different. And this is part of what makes our residential community so special. When students indicated their preferred style in phase 1 of the housing application, we encouraged them to think about what type of experiences they wanted. Do they prefer to live with one person or 3 to 5 others? Do they intend to cook in a kitchen or to clean their bathroom? Is your student requesting a direct roommate? If so, we highly encourage them to communicate with them. It is important that both students indicate the same preferences of housing. While students can indicate their preferred style of housing, We are unable to accept specific building requests. Don't worry. Regardless of where your student is assigned, they will make it their own and it'll feel like home. This slide shares a little additional information about our Messina program, and we're so proud of our Living Learning program in partnership with the Messina office. Our staff works closely with the office, and our halls have Messina classrooms for easy access. So part of our Messina program is really having that classroom experience within the residence hall, so students are able to form those relationships with their community members and sharing an academic experience within their home. For our commuter students that are living off campus, these Messina classes they'll still participate in the Messina classrooms in the residence halls, and it really gives our commuting students an opportunity to come into the residence halls, feel what that community experience is like, explore more of campus, and start to work on building additional relationships with their peers. So it really is a great program. We really enjoy it. Several of the folks in the student life staff are also able to serve as mentors in that program, and they may be some of the folks that'll be in the classroom with your students. I know a top burning question for many of our students is how are roommates matched? And there are two options in which residents are assigned roommates. They can either request a direct roommate, or they can be assigned to a room through our auto assignment process, which matches students based on their residential profile submitted during the phase 1 of the housing application. We know that living with a compatible roommate is one of the most important things to a college student, and students feel extra pressure to find that perfect match. While we support students and offer a process for students to search for roommates during phase 2 in the RoomRes portal, we also want to affirm that most incoming students do not request a roommate and allow our matching process to assign them with a student who answered their residential profile questions similarly. As a reminder, all first-year students must log back into their housing application in the RoomRes portal to indicate if they are requesting a roommate or going through our matching process. Phase 2 is due on July 8th. And I forgot to mention that the pictures on this slide are all pictures from Hopkins Court. So what happens next? We really try to make sure that all of our information is available to parents and students and family members on our website. After phase 2 closes on July 8th, our office will begin assigning students to housing. All students will receive their assignment, roommate information, and move-in instructions in late July. This information will be sent to their Loyola email address. In the meantime, we encourage you and your student to review our Student Life website as you plan for move-in. Prerequisites for moving in. So while we cannot wait to welcome students to campus, we wanted to remind you that there are several requirements that must be completed before a student can receive their key and officially move in. Students must submit all required health forms to Student Health Services by July 25th. They must watch and complete the 4 EverFi trainings. They must pay their Student Administrative Services fall bill and submit their picture for their student ID to the Student Administrative Services office by each designated deadline. Individual offices will also be sending additional information to your students' Loyola email. So please remind them to check this email daily. Our residence hall schedules. So I know we're talking about moving and bringing your students to campus, but I know that lots of family members are curious about when's the first time they're going to be coming back home. So we encourage students and families to review the residence hall opening and closing schedule, again, available on our website now so that you can plan for when students are expected to return home. Students who are required to remain on campus during these closures for university requirements will receive break extension information from their coaches, club coordinators, or faculty staff members. So typically we close our residence halls for Thanksgiving break, winter recess, and spring break. And those are times where we close the residence halls and expect students to go home. But we do have a break extension process for students that need to remain on campus. So they'll be able to submit a request, and then we'll communicate with our students directly on what their next steps in the process would be. Our students all have access to the RoomRes portal. All official student life housing and meal plan forms and information can be found in our RoomRes housing portal. Students access this portal via Inside Loyola and clicking RoomRes housing portal under Around Campus. Students can find their housing assignment, change their meal plan, schedule their move-in, and more from this portal. Additionally, you can live chat with one of our student life staff members easily from the portal. We really try to ensure that our students have an easy way to contact us that's comfortable for them in reaching out. Many students take advantage of the chat feature or communicating to the office through our portal. Additional resources. So these are a list of resources that we've found students and families typically want to have more information on. And we've put together a list of these resources on our website to help you prepare for move-in and make your room feel more like home. We encourage you to look at our approved partners for everyday housing and room needs, and really to kind of just continue to educate yourself about the options and resources available in housing. And finally, this is our contact information for student life. Please do not hesitate to reach out or contact us if there's anything we can do to assist you. You can contact us via email, phone, or review our website for everyday or frequently asked questions and answers. Those are the main points that I wanted to cover today. I'm going to kind of open the floor up for questions, and it looks like some items have already kicked into the chat. So let me kind of pull that over. And let's see what we've got. First question is, are fridges and microwaves included? Refrigerators and microwaves are included in our full apartments. So in Campion Hall, there's a fridge provided, not a microwave, I'm sorry. In our other apartments throughout campus, there are full refrigerators. In our first year areas, fridges are not provided, microwaves are not provided. So students are encouraged to bring their own. Those are items that I would suggest that students communicate with their roommate about who's bringing what. Often students don't need 2 microwaves or 2 refrigerators in a bedroom, and it's an item that students can share. There are definitely some extenuating circumstances where students prefer to have their own separate units, but I think that's something that I would encourage students to communicate about. We do have a partner with Microfridge that rents those units, and that's something that I would encourage families to take a look at. Since most students really only need those items for the first year, it may make sense to look at a rental for that year instead of doing a purchase. So, question about how many showers and stalls are there in our shared community spaces. So really in those nooks in Hammerman and Butler, I don't remember the specific numbers of showers and stalls in those units. I have not received concerns or complaints from students that there's not enough units in there. So I believe that there's plenty of space for students to kind of navigate that together. I believe that information is available on the website. I'm blanking on those numbers right now. Our move-in dates, once they're finalized, will be added to the website, and they'll be communicating all the move-in information. Right now, I believe we are targeting, I'm going to jump to my calendar real quick. All of our students will be arriving to campus during the last week of August into the first week of September around the Labor Day holiday. And there'll be different days that'll be available for students to select for their move-in. So as we get closer to that date, we'll have specific instructions for students in being able to select which day they want to arrive to campus. And we'll have options available for students to choose from. Question about, is there an option to pay an extra fee for housekeeping, vacuuming, especially for cleaning the bathrooms? So our facilities department does not offer that service for our students that are in in the apartment spaces where they are responsible for their cleaning, or in Theoboma where they're responsible for cleaning that bathroom. They are responsible for navigating that. And further, they're responsible for having those conversations with their roommates in how they're going to navigate cleaning those shared spaces. So that is definitely a challenge that some first-year students have, is trying to figure out how to clean and maintain those spaces and communicate with each other. I can share that in my experience, if as a first-year student many moons ago, having my own space and having to clean it probably wouldn't have been a great choice for me. So depending on who your student is, where they're at with those responsibilities, if it's something they want to engage in or not, that's something for them to consider in trying to determine which style housing they would like to indicate their preference for. The next question I have is, are toaster ovens allowed in the apartments? We do not allow anything with an exposed heating element allowed in the residence halls. So toaster oven where you kind of get those, the red heating coils is not an item that we would allow in the residence halls. All of our prohibited items and encouraged items, suggested items for students to bring are listed on the website. So please feel free to check there as well with questions about specific items. For the most part, items that are prohibited from campus are items that we feel are fire safety hazard for one reason or another. Typically, it'll get hot and you wouldn't realize it got hot. It has an exposed heating element, or it's been problematic at another institution. So really just trying to make sure that we're keeping our students who are living in community with others as safe as possible. The next question we have is, what about the laundry service? What type of storage is available? What is the closet space? So each of our rooms have closet space and a dresser for students to be able to store their personal items and their desk. In terms of laundry, each residence hall has a laundry facility located within it. And moving into next year, that laundry service is included with part of the housing costs. So in years past, there's been additional charges to use the laundry machine. That's all kind of rolled in moving forward to make it easier for students to be able to take care of their items and do their laundry and take care of that. Detergent is not provided. Students would be responsible for providing their own detergent. So that's really kind of the information on the laundry rooms. Where can students use meal points? So for our students, they're able to use their swipes and their points, depending on which meal plan they've purchased, throughout the different dining locations that we have on campus. We have locations within some of the residence halls. So in Newman Towers, there's Iggy's. In Theoboma, there's the Theoboma Market. Most students take most meals, I believe, in the campus center at Boulder 2.0. And that's really where students are able to kind of use their points and take their meals. Students often go in groups with peers and share meals together. In addition to that, within the residence halls, there's vending machines that are able to access their Evergreen cards and any of the Evergreen funds that may be placed on those cards. So students are also able to kind of have that access to those items within the residence halls. Students throughout campus, there are dining locations vary in hours and services to really make sure that there's a good opportunity for students to get the food that they need when they need it. So the question is, when traveling in from another state, typically what is a reasonable amount of time parents should plan to stay to help your student move in? That is a great question. I think that really depends on each individual family. Some families like to make sure that every single thing is in its place and tucked away, and that the room is 100% set up before parents feel like they feel comfortable leaving their student. Some parents like, okay, we got it on the God, we got everything in the room, and we're out of here. You're on your own. I think that we try and stagger our move-in process so that not all of our students and family members are in the same room trying to arrive at the exact same time, to try and give families the opportunity to have some space in the room with their student to help with that transition. But I think it's important to be cognizant of the other students in that space and the other students in the room. Some families I've seen come to campus with both with parents, grandparents, siblings, the family dog, aunts, uncles. It's a lot of people and a lot of stuff that to show up into a room on move-in day. Move-in day tends to be a little high emotions. It tends to be a warmer day. So with lots of people and lots of stuff and lots of emotions happening, it can be challenging at times. Taking that moment to really pause, acknowledging what you need to support your student, and also acknowledging that there's other students that are in the space and figuring out what they need, and working with the family that your student's going to be sharing that space with is really important. Being able to kind of communicate those expectations and be able to get out of each other's way is really, really important in setting those students up to be successful throughout the semester. If there's too many people and too much stuff during move-in day, it can start the students off in a challenging situation. It can make the first couple of weeks, it can add difficulty the first couple of weeks instead of offering an opportunity to kind of welcome everybody in and smooth that transition. The next question is, can students bring sandwich makers? Are there any electrical cooking items that they cannot bring? Again, all of our cooking items, any of our prohibited items, they're all listed specifically on our website. If it's listed on the website as prohibited, then we wouldn't want you to have it. I'm not 100% sure what a sandwich maker is, so I'm not sure how to answer that question. There's a question about the size of mini fridges. Again, on the website, we have the specific size and electrical capacity that we know we can support in the residence halls. So if you're going to bring a unit, we ask that it meets those requirements. So there's a question about if my student is coming in for an early arrival program, such as outdoor adventure, when do they move in? So there's a handful of pre-fall programs that the university offers. For any of the students that are participating in a pre-fall program, as they get accepted into those programs and we work on completing our room assignments, we will communicate with those students what their early arrival information will be. They'll be coming in early because they're in a pre-fall program. So they'll have time to arrive to campus, move all their items into this space, start to get settled in before participating in that pre-fall program. So we work closely with any of the offices that host those pre-fall programs to make sure that we've had enough time to welcome the students in, get them settled into their room in time for the programs to start. There's a question about, are parents allowed to help with move-in day? So in years past, we haven't had any restrictions on parents being able to help or family members being able to help support our students during the move-in process. Last spring semester, when we opened, kind of in the midst of some of our COVID restrictions, we did have a restriction for one parent entering the residence hall. As we are navigating moving forward and trying to really understand what our COVID restrictions will be looking like moving forward, we'll be able to provide a final answer on what those expectations around move-in will be and who will be able to enter the residence halls. Question is, should students in camping bring a vacuum? We do have we do have some limited vacuums available for students to borrow within the residence halls, but I would strongly encourage students to bring their own cleaning supplies, materials, their own vacuum, whatever they think they're going to need to be able to clean their spaces. They should bring those items with them to campus. There's a question about where student athletes are housed. Student athletes are able to kind of go through the same housing process as all of our students are. They're able to indicate a preference to apartments or doubles, just like everybody else. Typically, I think some of the coaches do advise the athletes to request apartment style housing. And I think that the main reason for that is many of the athletes need to remain on campus over some of the breaks where the university closes. And because they need to be here over those breaks, having full access or having access to a full kitchen allows them to prepare meals during those breaks. And it's a little bit easier for them to kind of navigate those university closures where the cafeteria might not be open when they have access to those full kitchens. So not required, but I do know many of the coaches do encourage the athletes to request apartment style housing. So there's a question about cable services on campus and should students bring streaming devices. We encourage all students to bring a Roku streaming device on campus. We've transitioned away from our coax system. So where you may have that, maybe familiar with like that black wire that screws onto the plug in the wall. We've transitioned away from that at the university. Any of the cable services would be available to students through streaming devices, and the guidance that we've provided students is to bring a Roku device. Question about moving. Yes, students will be able to select their arrival day. For a student that's coming in for a pre-fall program, there'll be one day that's available for pre-falls. For our non-pre-fall arrivals, we're going to have 2 days for move-ins. I believe Sarah messaged me that it's September 1st and 2nd are the days we've got slotted for first-year arrivals. And those will be the days that students will be able to choose from. So as we share that roommate information, there'll also be instructions on selecting their arrival day. And our arrival days, we even have arrival times built into that. So students that know they want to be here first thing in the morning or know that they need to get here a little bit later in the day, they're able to select the options that work best for them. And we really are trying to be intentional about making sure that we're able to both space out people arriving to campus and making sure that we're able to offer arrival times that work for families. As you can imagine, move-in day with everybody trying to arrive on campus in the same half hour is not going to work well. We're just going to be congested throughout campus and in our elevators and in the community. So we really are trying to be intentional about spreading out the arrival of everybody to campus. The more spread out we're able to navigate that, the smoother everybody's arrival is able to be, just to make sure that there's space for people on campus. There's places for vehicles to move to. There's places for people to unload. The more intentional we can be about spacing that out, the smoother the experience we can offer to our students and their families. A question about types of programs that are available in the residence halls. The RAs are really pretty diverse in the types of programs that they offer, ranging from opportunities that are focused on social engagement, where it's really just trying to drive people out of their room, coming to a common area, engaging in a shared activity, can range from being social and like watching TV or watching a movie or engaging in a craft or activity in the residence hall through more educational experiences, bringing a faculty member into the residence hall, bringing students to an event that's occurring on campus, having an intentional conversation about different events that are occurring on campus or events that are occurring within our community or our greater community. The RAs really do a great job of kind of coming up with lots of different things to offer throughout the semester. A lot of the RAs program activities within the residence halls that are closely connected to their passions or groups or clubs that they're connected to on campus to help kind of continue forming bridges for our students into some of the other organizations and groups that exist on campus. In addition to that, the RAs often are trying to take an assessment of what their residents' interests are and try and offer specific programming opportunities to meet the interest of their residents. So there's pretty broad range in what the RAs will try and address. We have a programming model that kind of gives them some guidance, but the RAs really do have a lot of latitude in what they're able to provide for their students. So really trying to meet the needs and the interests of the residents in their building. Question about bedding packages sent via mail. Are those measurements universal for all the beds? All the beds on campus are extra long twin mattresses. So that's the standard size for any bedding that you'd be interested in purchasing. I know that we do partner with one vendor, OCM, that offers some linen packages. Some students are interested in doing that. You're able to get those linens shipped directly to campus. You're able to pick them up when you arrive at school. It's one less thing that you have to bring to campus during that move-in process. But lots of students just bring their own stuff from home as well. So I'm trying to read through the questions here. Is there a specific hall for the honors program students? And is there a specific move-in day for honors program students? Honors program will be considered one of our pre-fall programs. So they do have a designated arrival time. I'm pausing on if they're part of the pre-fall programs or if they're at the beginning of one of the move-in days. But there is a designated time for the honors program to move in because they do have some programs that begin once students arrive to campus. So there is a designated time that they arrive, and once they're on campus, then they get settled in and then they start to move into some of the welcoming and orientation aspects of that program. Question about if my student runs out of points on their meal card, can more points be added or can cash be used or credit card? So I believe the cafeteria does accept credit card, does accept cash. Actually, they do. I know that. You can also add additional points to their Evergreen card. So you can go into the Loyola website. There's an opportunity to kind of check into food services. And from there, you're able to pull up your student, put in their ID number, I believe, and then you're able to add funds to their account if you want to. And I know some students need that, some students don't need that, but it is an option that's available to you. So the next question is, what's the difference between using points and using meal swipes? And typically food services is here with me in presenting some of this information, and they're really great at kind of digging into that. We have several different meal plans that are available to students throughout the time that they're here at the institution. So depending upon which plan they opt into, and some of the plans vary depending on the year that a student is and their residential status, determines if they have points or if they have swipes. Those swipes tend to be used in places that are offering full meals. So I know swipes are typically used in Boulder 2.0, and in Iggy's. Where students might use points is more like the vending machines or Iggy's Market, where the student may be looking to purchase like a bag of chips as opposed to a full meal. So depending on the location on campus can kind of depend on which type of option they're going to be using. And then another question on meal plans. Sorry, folks. What is the difference between the meal plans, meal blocks, and swipes? For instance, are swipes in addition to plans themselves? I am not well versed enough to kind of go into the details of the meal plans. I apologize. I believe food services does try and explain the differences between those items. A meal swipe tends to include like a full meal and includes, I think it's like a main course and a side or two sides and a drink. Whereas the points, it's going to be like dollar amounts for something. And then I think the blocks are navigated in time periods, whereas the swipes, it's like a total meal swipes you get to use throughout the semester. So I'm sorry I can't give more detail on that, but that's not my specific expertise. All right. So I will continue. Looks like that's all the questions that have been submitted so far. I will continue to hang out for a few more moments, but I just wanted to say thank you again for being here tonight. I hope I was able to give you a better sense of what living on campus might look like and of some of our campus resources. And again, I thank you for being here, and we are so excited to continue to welcome you and to welcome your student to campus. So thank you, folks. Have a good night. Oh, I said that, and then there's more questions here. I just needed to scroll further. So I'm going to keep jumping back into these questions. I'm sorry, I did miss some of these questions here. The next one is, can students have cars on campus? First-year students are not permitted to have vehicles on campus. We are limited in the amount of parking that we have on campus, so it's really restricted for some of our returning students. A colleague is reminding me to encourage parents to join the Loyola Facebook parent page. Many of these answer some of these questions, as well as the fridge, which is 3.5 cubic feet. Are the floors in the halls co-ed? Yes, the floors in the residence halls are co-ed throughout all of our buildings. Exactly what is a Roku device? A Roku device is a device that plugs into the TV that's able to connect to the internet, and then through the internet, it's able to stream the different channels that Roku is able to access. So I know one of the services we've offered is streaming, or the cable vendor that we've used offers a streaming service that's only available through Roku, which is why we encourage students to bring a Roku device to campus. It allows them to access that streaming content. And then Roku devices are also able to access additional streaming content like Amazon Prime, HBO Go, Disney Plus, all those streaming channels. The Roku device is what allows students to watch that on their TV. Question, are there resident assistants in the apartments as well? Yes, we have resident assistants that are assigned in all of our first year areas and throughout housing on campus. So the student life staff has lots of student staff, these RAs that are available. There's a specific focus on working with our first year students to really make sure that they're transitioning to campus well, that they have the resources that they need. In addition to our resident assistants, the evergreens are those mentors to our first year students that are going to be in the Messina courses, in the enrichment hours. So we're really trying to make sure that our first year students are connected with mentors in a few different locations to really try and make sure that there's somebody that really connects well with those students. Okay. Is there a hotel for closer to campus for parents versus downtown Baltimore? Yeah, there are some hotels. There's the Sheraton Cross Keys that's a little bit closer to campus that I know some families have used in the past. I believe on any information where we're inviting parents to campus, typically there's additional information about hotels in the area that we are recommending. Question: should students bring TVs? Several students do bring their own TV. We do have so students do bring their own TVs, and again, that's one of those items that I would encourage students to communicate with their roommate. I'm going to bring the fridge. Do you want to bring the TV? You probably don't need two flat screens in one residence hall room. There is a checklist for suggested items to bring. Again, that's on the website. And we'll also include that with the housing and assignment information to really help make sure students know these are the last few items that I should make sure I'm collecting as I'm getting ready to make my way to campus. For bed linens, question about if they're delivered to campus, do they need to be laundered first? I think that the items would be shipped to students. They would be new items. So if you feel like you have a preference to make sure you wash something before you use it for the first time, then yes, they would need to be laundered. If you felt like you could pull it out of the packaging and throw it on the bed, then you'd be able to do that. Somebody asked, they have not been able to visit campus yet. Are there restaurant shops within walking distance? There's a handful of shops and restaurants that students are able to walk to. There's places within all of the residence halls that allow students to leave the residence halls to go walk to locations off campus if they choose to do so. And there's good opportunity for students to engage in the community by participating in some of these vendors off campus and shops off campus. So I'm getting my warning here. So I do want to remind everybody that we have our closing session that's coming up. And that's going to be happening at 8:30. So if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to me after the presentation. I tried to get through as many of the questions in the chat as I was able to, and I'm scrolling through a second time to make sure I actually scrolled the correct way. I apologize if I did not get to answer your question. But again, thank you for being here tonight. I hope I was able to offer a little bit more information and help ease your transition and help welcome your student to Loyola. Please go ahead and make your way over to our closing session, and thank you again.